I fear I'll be careful. Live from Long Island, New York, it's Love, Death, and Taxes. Hi, Agnes. How are you doing?
Hi, Ryan. How are you? I'm excited about today's show. Can't wait to start.
Oh my gosh, she's gonna go at me this whole time. Talking about Ryan's rules for love today, and what I'm doing is basically coming at them from the back end. Like, this is the stuff you shouldn't do. All right, so guys, this is not necessarily a a rule book of things to do. It's more like a rule book of things that I know don't work because I suck. All right, so that's what we're gonna do today. Love, death, and taxes. Ryan's rule of wrong, maybe. Ryan's rule of wrong thing. So let's get started. All right, so Agnes, how have you been? Well, first of all, my name is Ryan O'Neill Williams. I'm co-host, and my lovely co-host is Agnes Amasano. We talk about love, death, and taxes, the things that you cannot escape in life. Uh, Agnes, how have you been? What's going on? What happened this week? Tell me about this week.
Oh, this week was good. Again, I went to see Dr. Genie. He's my podiatrist. He's
Mm,
wonderful, wonderful. If you need a good podiatrist, he is the one to see.
gotta take
Um,
care of your
so
feet.
yes, absolutely. So, 2.5 weeks ago, I had surgery. He took stitches out yesterday, so I'm on the mends. There's still little here and this and that, but 2.5 weeks, and then I'm walking with smile on my face. So that's the best.
Yeah. That's not bad at all. I mean, there are a lot of people who take much longer than that
Oh,
to
absolutely.
recover from that kind of stuff. I
No,
mean, it's
he knows. Dr. Dini knows what he's doing, so I'm very happy. Yeah.
yeah, like a really smart guy, but also, you know what's important to also have someone who you can talk to and not feel like embarrassed when you're talking to them, because sometimes some people are just like in and out, in and out, in and out. But it took care of that. So what happened with your foot? What happened? Too much kickboxing? What was that?
You got me. You got me. But it's okay. I'm getting back to it very soon, so I will continue.
Good, good, good. All right,
Oh,
so
yeah.
oh man. So if you guys don't know that the love part of this show is because Agnes is a someone who counsels people when they are getting married. She's a wedding officiant, and so when she does that, she counsels people about love and death and marriage. But at almost me, almost 50 years old, I've had my share of relationships myself. Agnes has had her share of relationships herself. And by the way, I got that thing in the mail,
Okay. Okay.
little cake for the wedding. All right, so I just got that. I haven't plugged it in yet. I gotta look at it this weekend. Yeah, I got it. I think either yesterday or Wednesday. I got it in the
Mhm.
mail. I'm like, okay, I'll take a look. She so, but the idea then is, how can we pass on some knowledge to people who may or may not know what it is they want to do or how they want to do it, and like steer you out of trouble. Honestly, this is the internet. I hope this stays on forever and ever and ever and ever on YouTube, and my kids can go back and look at it and say, "Oh, that's why my dad's dumb."
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness gracious.
No, it's more like, listen, honestly, if I can pass on something and someone says, okay, that makes sense, then I'd like to do that. So, without further ado, I'm going to start with Ryan's rules of love. I'm going to start with some overreaching things, and then we'll go back into them individually, right?
Yeah,
So,
I can't wait. Go ahead.
she's like, I can't wait. All right, so I've got about three or four. Let's see. One,
Mhm.
two, three major categories. So number one category is the balance of power. Number two category, we're going to call it coming and going. And the number three category, we're going to talk about communication. It should probably be the other way around. Like coming and going should probably be the last thing. But the truth is,
It's okay. It's okay. We can deal.
it's all right. All right. So balance of power. Balance of power. And when I'm talking about the balance of power, I'm talking about the fact that the way men and women interact with one another ends up being that, you know, you want to be chivalrous, you want to have a certain amount of morality, but the truth is out here today, especially in the world of these things, you know, the phones and the whatever, um, information can change the balance of power, and the way people relate to one another basically changes the balance of power, right? I think that you should be or want to be a good person and want to treat a person well, but at the same time, there's this thing where men are required to be chivalrous at the same time. So I have that listed as, I'm trying to explain it, Agnes, morality versus chivalry, right? Because there's one thing where you feel like this is what we should do, like everybody should be equal, but the truth is, people still want to be wooed. People still want the traditional roles, right? Would you say that
You're talking morality and chivalry? No, it's not really power. Because
yeah,
power, that I think of totally different thing as of
well,
power
we'll get into. I do have another thing that I talk about, but
okay.
Yeah, it's just making the balance of power. It's okay. So if you're a guy and the balance of power requires you to be to make more money, for example, that works better in relationships for whatever reason. You're saying no, but I'm telling you that if the guy is not, I'm telling you from my experience, if a man is the person who is taking care of the children at home and contributing just as much as the woman, a homemaker at home, he is not seen as as um, as valuable in the relationship. And I'm telling you from personal experience.
Ryan, my dear,
yeah. Go ahead.
You know, I care about you.
Yes.
You're a very good friend. I love you dearly, my friend. But it's 2023. It's not 1950s. 1950s, it was a woman stays home, men go to work, you know, different story. Nowadays, a lot of women actually are providers, and men are there, you know, of course, I'm not for the type of relationship myself where just one person is working and another not, but there are situations where it's actually making more sense that one of the parents will stay home and take care of children, which sometimes that will be a father staying home taking care of children because it's smarter, it's more beneficial to the family.
Yes, if the guy was making 60 grand and she was making 60 grand, but all of a sudden she starts making 100, 120, 150 grand, it does not make sense for him to continue to go back and forth to work when he could just support her at home and take care. Like say they had 3 children and those children all need to be cared for. Now we're spending thousands and thousands of dollars on childcare for him to go to a job that he's just taking the 60,000 and giving to that childcare person. So that doesn't make sense. This makes sense to stay home. But I am telling you, Agnes, from personal experience, that it doesn't work. That every time women and men, they just see themselves a certain way and their friends and they're getting that balance of power just doesn't work. So I believe, and this is what I'm telling you guys, and it's good that we have this argument. This makes the show great. Guys, do not quit your job.
It's 2023. It's
disagree.
Look,
I don't think any of them.
Something.
Yes.
Listen to me. It has to be when two people actually, when they love each other, when get married, whatever, right? They're in a relationship, they live together, so there
Yes,
has to be certain equal responsibilities. It doesn't matter. It's not equal dollar signs, it's equal responsibilities.
that is
So
what it should be.
one, doesn't matter which person is going to work, another is taking care of children, or if maybe it's smarter that one spouse covers all the bills and another takes care of just whatever he brings
Right.
less money, is responsible for savings, whatever it works for the couple. It's
Absolutely.
not men and women issue, it's what works for the couple. And
This
in now this
I'm saying to you that
that
this is what we are being told, but this is not actually workable. That's what I'm telling you. From a person who has done it in a workshop, it doesn't work. And it's
and
not
I'm
one,
telling
it's
you it
not
does.
just me.
And I'm telling you it does.
It can't. That's what you're
I'm
saying.
telling you it does.
Okay.
Men cannot be afraid of strong women.
Nope.
Okay. And any strong woman, as being one of them, I can tell you that yes, sometimes even a very strong and powerful woman can tell you, you know what, I'm falling apart, and come home and come to her husband, and although you cannot help, put your arms around her, give her chocolates and $1 million, and everything will be fine. But no, the back, this kind of a hug and a box of chocolates and so baby, everything's gonna be okay. Every woman, when because you tell me that a woman did not, like in your life, she did not, that was not okay for you to stay home, but
No, it was okay for a
yeah,
while. Like she acted like it was okay for a while, but then the truth is, she was not okay, and she was very slowly convinced by friends and family that it really wasn't okay.
okay,
Even though not only was I bringing in money, but I was also taking all of the family chores and everything off her, to the point where when we went to um, to counseling, uh, the counselor was like, "Ryan, you are doing everything. What the heck?" It was like the roles had switched so much that I had taken on everything at home, and all she was doing was going to work and coming home, going home, going to work, coming, going. And if she felt like, okay, maybe she'll get me a dinner or so here or there or there. And the counselor was like, "No, are you crazy? You need to. You can't be putting the kids in the car and driving her to school." So there was a whole thing where I realized that, and you're saying this is a specific situation. I'm telling you that based on the research that I did, that this is just a problem that when women can't do it. Women want a guy who is more dominant than them. They
no, guy can be dominant even when he is at home.
absolutely.
Women want support, emotional support, knowing
Yes.
that when you are falling, there is someone to catch
Mhm.
them. Okay.
Right.
Or there is again, whatever we're saying, this is not everyday thing.
Right. Of course. These
I
are
much
generalizations.
Yeah, this is not for everybody. I know women that I'm about to say that women like romance, but not all of them. Not all of them. There
Okay.
are there are certain
I'm going to disagree with you with that too. I feel like every woman wants romance. It's just that it has to come in a different form for each one of you. Some things are universal, right? Everybody wants to have sex. I don't see any woman who wouldn't like a nice massage and a nice, pampering. Maybe, you give them a nice shower. I don't think that there's a woman who doesn't like being pampered and cared for in that way. But there are some things that some women are just like, oh, what are you
They
doing?
are different women, and you have to, again, the big word here, it's communication. If
Oh,
you
oh,
don't
we're gonna go
want,
to that. We're
yeah,
gonna
if
get
you don't want your husband to stay home, tell him, honey, this is not
it's
for
not
me.
what's for me.
We
I
need to
can't
do
do it.
something
I
different.
can't do it. But
Um,
sometimes things happen, and then it is what it is. So, for
yeah,
example, my mother had cancer, and so it didn't make sense for me to be running back and forth, and nobody was there to take care of her. She needed someone
yeah.
to care for her. So there's a whole thing. But I see what you're saying. I'm gonna disagree with you. This is my rule book, so I'm gonna tell you this. So I don't think so. Then the balance of power is there. You got to be careful, right? I think
Okay,
there's
we're talking about massages. If you're good at massages, go
oh,
ahead. But if
I'm
you
telling you.
you only think that you are,
Okay,
then please don't do it.
so one of my rules is you better get good at massages, and I don't just mean massages with your hand. I mean massages, all kinds of massages, if you know what I mean. You better get good at it because otherwise you are going to be replaced by some other. And this did not happen, but I'm just saying you can be the massages I'm good at. I'm actually really good with my hands.
Or if you're not good at the massages, I can give you a phone number for wonderful people that you can call, give you a couple of massages, and then you are in
And
the
do it
mood
together.
for
Yeah.
when they leave.
But
Okay.
when I say massages, I mean massages, right?
Okay.
That is something every guy
Sensual massage.
you need to try to get good at sexual relations, and that's the next thing, that coming and going. That's our next section down
Yeah.
here, coming and going. But let's finish up with the balance of power stuff. I think, and forget me what I think. There was some research done, right? And the guy was saying, I saw this recently on television, and he was explaining that women are when men go looking for things to arouse them, pornography or whatever online, and go searching, they look for. It's very easy to tell what they go. They go look for, sex, straight up, just what they want. They want to see some visually, wow, 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 and see something. That's it, and they're happy. But women need a little bit more foreplay. They want a little more. Hey, the guy brought me flowers, and then we had this little argument, and then we did that. So they want a story, and they want some particular kinds of guys. So when they were searching for stories, they found that there were five types of guys that women would search for online when they were looking for quote unquote erotic stories. Did you ever read those, like Mills and Boone and other romantic story? You were just not that kind of girl. I don't think you were that kind of girl. I think you were very.
I like romance.
Different.
I like romance. Don't get me wrong. And I was in a relationship when the guy was opening doors and then getting up when I'm getting up from the table and moving my chair and everything. Oh my God.
Still needs to be done.
Outside, behind the closed doors, different story. But outside, he was
he's very good. You said behind closed doors he wasn't doing anything. Oh, that's messed up.
Yeah, he thought he was good at the massages.
When I did a massage, that woman fell asleep to the point. Yeah.
And then you're doing something wrong.
I don't think so. She'd be like, huh? Oh my gosh, it was so great. That just felt so good. I feel asleep. That's how good I was at it. But bottom line is, the five stories, or the five types of guys that women were looking for were: number one. Well, they're not in order. I'm not putting them in order. I'm just saying top five. Surgeon, which completely makes sense. That's a mental thing, right? He's smart, and he's probably going to be rich too because he's intellectual, but he's also, he's probably going to have some money too because a surgeon makes money. Billionaire, that's an easy one. That makes a lot of sense. That's just money. That's just money. And of course, there was that Shades of Grey thing. So maybe
50 Shades of Grey. Yeah.
All right.
I read that.
Yeah, those two make sense to me. All right, those two completely make sense. But these other three, werewolf, vampire,
Okay,
and,
that one I see it.
and pirate. Those were the other three. Like when women are looking for porn, erotic stories, and they're looking for,
Well,
they're
the
looking
pirate
for
story.
surgeons, billionaire, werewolf, vampires, and pirate. And yeah, when I wrote this down, like this whole list, at the first, I was like, what? This doesn't make, why would women want this weird, fantastical thing of that? But the more I thought about it, it made sense. If you think about, guys who break the law, like guys who are criminals, right? And who don't care about, the rules of society, and they basically go out and do whatever. So, a guy who's a
It's a
drug dealer.
pirate. The bad boy. The bad
He's
boy.
he's a bad boy. So the
Yeah.
pirate isn't really a pirate. It doesn't have to be a pirate per se. That's the far extension of it. But he's kind of like a bad boy. Yeah,
Although I was in Mexico on a surf and turf kind of a cruise,
yes.
and that was nice showdown between the pirates, fighting and grabbing a tourist from one boat to another,
Yeah.
and
And you like this?
they were good-looking pirates. So. Yeah, that was before I met my husband. I have to.
You're like, oh, these pirates.
No, honey, that was before I met you.
You're like, oh, these pirates are greasing the peach. I heard that's the word, greasing the peach.
Never heard that, but okay. Like he was bringing me more margaritas and more margaritas.
Like, more margaritas, please.
I think that I see vampire.
Right. Okay. Why do you see vampire?
Well, Twilight, that movie, there was vampires and werewolves, but
yes.
with vampire, you can see this sensual lovemaking.
Yes, it's someone who has spent many, many years on the planet, and they want to enjoy like that. So I could see, like, once I heard who was it? The guy, oh my gosh, singer, blonde hair, Sting. I heard Sting talk about his wife and saying he does tantric sex with his wife. And so he says, when I do, when we have sex, we don't, he says sometimes they don't even touch one another, that they just sit there and think about one another. I was like, I was like, oh, that's gotta be amazing. I would think that if you were a vampire, you would have been able to, over the period of course of time, be able to do that kind of stuff. So I can understand.
It's a little different. It's a little different.
It's a little different.
It's more about thinking about each other, it's more emotional connection. With vampire, it's stories, vampire stories.
Yes.
In the movies, it's more about seduction and sensual lovemaking.
Right.
The emotion. So that's what it is.
Yes.
So maybe that's part of the romance, that when you are, and there is that 8 versus 8 between women and women, 8 seconds for a man to get aroused versus 8 minutes for a woman to get aroused.
Right.
So there is more. The foreplay, it's more romance. Show her. You cannot just make love to a woman physically. You have to arouse all her senses.
Yes, and it definitely. Yeah. So I get what you're saying.
If she's not into you, forget it. Doesn't matter how good the massages are.
In fact, I'm gonna call the cops on you if you do massage. He's not into you. Please buy her a drink before you start doing the massage. All right, so what do you think about werewolf? What do you think about that? Because I
can see it.
What do you think about werewolf? Not for you.
I don't know.
Right?
The werewolf. The only thing with the werewolf, it's from the Twilight, that good-looking young guy who is.
He's strong, and he protects you, right? Because he protected her from when the vampires were coming to get her.
Oh yeah,
like they were the only one. So if you think of the dog as a protector, or the dog as very feral, and can, so maybe that's what it is. You're a monster. Even when women, I know women used to at one point be interested in Frankenstein, because Frankenstein used to be and angry and can protect you. So maybe that's part of that. So I think these are archetypes.
Who are you talking to?
No. A long time ago, when they had those shows, when they first had those picture shows, and they had the werewolf and the vampire and the whatever, women would swoon. They'd be watching it, and they would swoon and pass out watching the TV and the show. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, are you hurt? Did you hate the show?" And they're like, "No, I want to go watch it again," because they were attracted to the vampire and the werewolf and Frankenstein. It's very interesting. They had never seen anything like that before. Although Bela Lugosi, if you think about Bela Lugosi, he's I want to bite your neck. He's very sensual. But also a vampire in the movies that I've seen can like look into your eyes and
mesmerize.
Yes, and knows what you're thinking and that sort of thing. And women definitely love it when you know what you're thinking.
Make love to her other way.
Yes.
Her understanding what she wants.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So there's that. And then I had this other part in here. I said, openness and honesty versus desire and necessity. What the heck did I mean by that? Right underneath it, I've got due surveillance. Yeah, you're like, Ryan, what's wrong with you? How you wrote these rules and now you don't know what they mean.
Okay.
Openness and honesty versus desire and necessity.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I know what I'm talking about. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you think you know?
I think I do.
All right. Go ahead. What do you think? Because I know. Now I'm looking at it. Now I think I know.
Communications, the desire and necessity. Like everyone has certain needs, and everyone has certain fantasies or desires, and then it's supposed to be between. I always encourage couples to be very honest about that, because number one, when you are in a relationship, then you are in a unit. You're supposed to be one. Therefore, you have to be open about anything that works for you. Because if someone is just gonna go, okay, I'm gonna close my eyes and do whatever because that's for you, and I'm just too embarrassed or ashamed to say what I need or what I want, then the relationship is going down from the beginning. Yes.
Yeah, it's
so it has to be the honesty and trust.
Yeah.
Not only communication, but the trust. And to be open about that. This is what I need. Can you give this to me? Because without that, I don't feel completed.
Yeah, and why am I? If I'm not myself, if I'm not actually myself, if for some reason you're a guy who likes feet and you can't go be yourself around it, then what are you doing? Then you're not actually being intimate, because you're not being yourself. You're kind of putting up walls in the places where. So maybe that's what that was. Okay. Do surveillance. I think I was saying when you meet someone, you should see. I thought about this a lot, because at one point you had told me that is something that you did, and women do it now all the time. They go look at your social media. Yeah, you encourage it, right? And I think you're very right. At first, I was resistant to that, but I think it is true. I think every guys don't do it enough. They don't see who it is that they are doing. And when they do, they should definitely know who they are dealing with. If a woman is telling you that she is divorced and she is not married, or she is single, and you don't go and check it, you just take her at her word, whoa, you are in trouble. If you find out later on that she has a husband, that's going to be a problem. And then you've just found out that a person has lied to you and will probably continue to lie to you later on, because they're not being their authentic, true self. And I feel like that's very important. And I have here, perform a test or 2 or 3. I'm not saying be deceptive or whatever, but there are lots of guys who, or people, women and men, who have ice cream truck is yeah. That's how you know it's in New York and it's summertime. But yeah, the idea of that is that the guy should be able to figure out who it is that he is looking at and who he's dealing with. And if you're not, then you're going to have a problem because you don't know who you're talking to. You're lying to yourself. And if you start off like that, you're in a problem. So perform a test or 2 or 3 to basically bring a person in to where you think you're going to meet them at a place. Are they going to be on time? Or are they late every time you meet them? Is that a problem for you? Like if it's not a problem for you and you're a late person too, then fine. But if they're constantly late, it means 1 or 2 things. They're not that interested in you, or 2, they're like late person. They don't respect your time and you've got a problem.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that is the only thing. I'm just saying everybody has those little pet peeves that they can't stand, and you should definitely check to see whether or not that person is going to be doing that thing.
Yeah.
Because if it might be cute in the beginning, but 2, 5, 10, 20 years down the line, you'll be like, oh, I want to kill you because you did that thing. But I've been doing it from the beginning. Why is it a problem now? It's always been a problem, but you decided to, not ignore it.
Yeah. What do you think about visiting to see where that person lives?
I think that's a great idea too. I think not only should you do it, but you should probably figure out a way to do it where they don't know you're coming. I think
because my friend of mine, she was interested in this guy, and finally she went to see him, and then he's showing her he wanted her to sit at the table, but she sat at on a couch, and then she kind of fell in because what happened, he got all the clothing and everything, he didn't know what to do with it, so he put on a couch and covered it.
This is a Seinfeld episode. Is that what this is?
So that really happened. That really happened. We were cracking up at it.
Yeah, she's dating George Costanza.
Really, it was an episode. I swear that really happened. So she was like really turned off, and so then she could not go in because he would lag because there was a mess. So that was it for her.
Okay. Right.
But I always encourage couples to live together because sometimes if someone lives with the parents or somebody else or the roommate, you cannot really see their habits. No. But when you live with someone, at least for a year, therefore there's no hiding. You see everything. You see everything how they are.
Everything. And I mean, to some extent, you can still choose to be courteous to the person forever and ever. Like I know of a couple who, if they have a house and if the woman wants to use the toilet, you don't know that she's ever used the toilet. She goes downstairs, you know what I mean? And he never finds out. It's just not, that's another thing. But at the same time, I see what you're saying. To see me, there's an old Jamaican proverb. To see me and come live with me is 2 different things. And it's different. See me out in the road and see me at the show and see me out in public is one thing. But when you come home and see where I live, it's very, very different. But you know what I left off of that surgeon, billionaire, werewolf, vampire, pirate thing? We were talking about money, roles, and equality. We did that before. But I did want to point out that you need to stay fit and stay dapper, not just for your woman, but also try to continue to be attractive to other women. Because guess what? Women are attracted to men who are wanted by other women, not just you. Oh, this is my husband. I love him very much. He's all mine, and I love him, and that's it. No, if the other women don't find him attractive, if the other women don't find him attractive and he's just doing for you, guess what? Eventually the woman's like, oh, he's boring. Nobody else wants him. There must be something wrong with him. And that's what that's just me. What do you think about that?
You're inviting trouble here.
I like
here.
Trouble's
Um,
good.
yes, you are. Number one, you should be first and most of all, you should take care of yourself, for your well-being. Okay, you definitely will do things for your spouse. Okay,
Yes.
I this I will tell you a secret that I do one thing for my husband that he doesn't even know that I'm doing that, and I will not. No, I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing, but I'm doing one thing every
But if
single
you tell
day.
me here, then nobody else will hear.
No,
You'll
no,
never
no,
hear it.
no,
No, it's just me and you. Just me and you,
but,
Agnes.
but I won't. But I won't admit to it, But I do so this way, he can continue seeing me the way he met
He
me.
said,
Although I'm
yes,
changing because 13 years we are not the same, but
absolutely.
that's still something. Keep it going to
Yeah.
so. When I know what he likes, so definitely will do things the way he likes, so he can continue finding me attractive.
Okay.
Uh, but for other women, yes, there is. If other women, if you're gonna start making yourself looking good for other women, you're inviting trouble. If you are in a relationship, yes, you are. Yes, you are, because there is no flirting. There is no inviting trouble to into relationship. No.
I'm sorry. If I've seen it over and over and over again. She dresses him. She'll dress him down. She'll buy him things and make him into this dowdy old guy that she's interested in or nobody else is interested in. And then she seems like she's happy, but the truth is, eventually she is not because now nobody else is doing that. Now the ladies at the pool aren't doing this anymore. When he walks into a room, they're not doing this anymore. And then she's like, "Oh, well, something wrong with him? What's going on?" But I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I think a man should definitely try to stay fit. Uh, Try to stay as as active in the bedroom as he possibly can, and dress nicely. But I also think you should not just wear what she tells you to wear, or look the way she
Honey,
wants you
there's
to
this sweater
look. Exactly. Yeah,
from
honey,
here to there.
he wears a Superman sweater that like softens his shoulders, and now he's not cute anymore. Or
Don't wear that suit and the tie. No, no, no. There's a sweater and a vest.
honey, can you wear the black socks with your sneakers, please? Because we really don't want you to look.
Wear socks with the sandals.
Yes, please. The sandals. So now he's bad, and he's not cute. I think there are a lot of women who make their men like less because they don't want. So the minute a man puts on his wedding ring, I think a lot of women come after him. It's a whole
No,
different.
I would want my husband when he goes out with me. I want him to
Look good.
bloom, to
Yeah.
look nice, not for others, for myself. So
Yeah.
this way, I will show off that. See, this is my man. I took care of him. He is it, and he is mine. So
I think you're a unicorn, Agnes. I love you to death. But yeah, I think even though you are saying this, I think some of the things that women do to men or for their men sometimes dowdy them down, and guys need to keep their head on a swivel and see what other guys are wearing or see what young guys are wearing. Be careful with that. You know what I mean? Not too crazy. You don't want to have your, oh my gosh, these guys are wearing the pants now. All the pants are very, very tight. I can't do the very tight. I'm just not going to get there. But some of the, I've lived 50 years, and some of the fashions that we used to wear in the 1980s and the 1990s have come back. And I'm like, okay, I can probably deal with that, agree with that. But some things I can't. Like, I'm not going to pull my pants down and have my butt showing with the.
oh, you don't want to look like a pack?
Heck no.
Like Pakistani. It's got that little butt and a skinny leg. So that's usually men in their 50s. That's what they're doing. They're trying to hold on to the youth.
Yes.
Tight pants, jeans,
Yeah,
and then everything is blowing up from here.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I can't look stupid. I'll prefer to look dowdy than look stupid. Wow, we've been doing this for 39 minutes, and I think we had way too much a good a time. I've still got coming and going, and I've got communication. Tell you what, let's park those, and we can come back to them next time. But I think that's great. I think you guys will really enjoy coming and going. And when you say coming, I'm not just talking about what you think I'm talking about. Get your dirty mind out the mat. The gutter, but that's I am talking about that. But I'm also talking about going to places like traveling. I found that taking my my significant other away from the household to go to places was always a great aphrodisiac. You want to go to a hotel, you want to go to a different country, you want to do some travel. Kind of hard to do before when it was COVID. That's something that you should definitely be picking up right now. I feel like going away just puts a different perspective on a person, puts them in a different thing. As long as they're not acting like a jerk there as well as at home, it can be a little bit of an aphrodisiac. But we'll come back to that. Coming and going and all the stuff that goes with it. Yes. And then communication. We did a little communication stuff, but we'll get back to that as well another time. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the show and us chit-chatting about Ryan's rules and regulations, wrong rules and regulations about love. If you want to send us some information, you can send it at mailbag@lovedeathandtaxes.com. If you want to send us a topic that we could talk about, you can send it at mailbag@lovedeathandtaxes.com. If you have a issue with your taxes, you have a tax resolution issue that you need to be taken care of, definitely go to nytaxresolutions.com. That is Agnes's website, and she most certainly can take care of you. She has never met a tax issue that she cannot solve. And so you guys know, it's summer, and I'm basically the local guide for the town of Babylon. Go to ilovebabylon.com and go check that out, because even tonight, there's a concert tonight. It's happening in another hour and a half, like the town concert. It's Earth, Wind, and Fire type. It's a tribute band, but it's great, really great. You guys should check that out. All right, Agnes, it's always lovely to see you. We had a good time, right? You had a good time.
Absolutely.
I didn't sound crazy. I didn't sound too crazy. All right, guys. So you see you guys next week. Oh, next week we have a special guest. Her name is Shana Manram. And Shana is a real estate agent. We're going to talk about taxes and real estate. So it's love, death, and real estate taxes next week. Same time, same channel. See you here. Wow, I spoke to her. I'll talk to you about it offline.
Okay.
I spoke to her, and she was very gung ho to go. So beautiful
person inside and out.
A lovely woman. I learned things in the 15-minute conversation that we had. I had no idea, but we'll get into it. We're introducing characters on the show, ladies and gentlemen, guests and characters, and I feel like we're blooming. Just so you know, we're hit. We hit 10,000 views the other day. That's a milestone I'm very proud of. Like, subscribe if you're on YouTube, so you'll get a notification. Click that little bell as well. All right. Guys, take care. Have a good 4th of July weekend.
Right? Yes. Happy 4th of July.
Right. Happy 4th of July, people.